Thanks so much, Sam. Wow, indeed. And thank you, everybody, for joining in today. In today's presentation, as Sam said, I'm going to be speaking about why you need to optimize your website and the great benefits it has to offer with regards to increasing your online donations and traffic. I'm going to cover 3 shifts today that you need to make in your organization in order to make this a success. So let's jump in. In terms of problems, these are the top 3 that our clients come to us with, and you'll probably resonate with them as well. The website doesn't look and feel at the level or quality of your organization's mission. You need to understand how to save time on your website management so you can focus on your other priorities. And the website is underperforming with low and lack of engagement and with potential donors and volunteers. By the end of today, you'll learn quick visual fixes to modernize your website, current design trends, responsive design, white space. We're going to talk about solutions to make your life easier when managing your website. And we'll talk about how to leverage Google in your favor and place appropriate CTAs, which are call to actions, and the importance of analytics. I want you to think about how much time you spend and the process for making updates to your website. I want you to think about how up-to-date your website is for your organization as of today. I want you to think about how your website works for you as a team member to get you donations and volunteers and to help you win grants and help you communicate your organization's mission to potential board members. How easy is it for you to use and navigate? I want you to think about the type of content you publish and the amount of traffic that you get to your website. So think about all these things. And what I want you to do is in chat, if you on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1's the lowest and 10 is the highest, how happy are you with your current website? Seven, 6, 8. Oh, a couple of 8s. That's good. Daryl, just launching. That's awesome. Amazing. A few 6s, a couple 5s. Excellent. Excellent. Great. Naomi, launching 2. Awesome. It's always a great feeling to have when you're like ready to launch a site, right? It's just like the excitement behind it and like getting it out there for sure. For sure. So also what I want you to think about is like, for anybody who's not launching a new website, where do you want your website to be? How would you like the website to serve your organization? And as Sam mentioned before, if you stick around until the end, we'll also send you our ebook, which is called 3 Simple Words to Increase Your Donations by 20%. We'll do some live Q&A at the end, and we're actually going to do a live spin the wheel for anybody who's here, again, for the $3,800 design and strategy session. Hi, I'm David Pisarek. I'm the CEO of Wow Digital, and we work with Canadian nonprofits who are looking for an improved online presence. Myself, I have over 30 years of web design, marketing, and branding experience, specifically with 20 years of that in the nonprofit sector, full-time doing web marketing and branding. I've been interviewed on a number of nonprofit podcasts and even cited in a PhD dissertation. I've taught web design and programming in 2 Ontario College full-time programs. I was a lead developer at a .com startup in 1999, where my work raised over $1 million in capital funding within 7 weeks, and we went public on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I started working full-time in nonprofits in 2000 and did so until 2016 when I founded Wow Digital. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, and another milestone, we've completed over 200 projects for nonprofits, NGOs, charities, foundations, and community groups. My team and I have also evaluated over 300 Canadian nonprofit, charity, NGO, and foundation websites. These are just some of the organizations we've helped in the past couple of years. And thank you again for joining me in the webinar. I know you're busy and have lots to do. Today's presentation is about how you can get better results from your website as a nonprofit. And as we go through this, I wanted to start with some problems. And let's just be clear on why we're here today. We're here to talk about how to get better results from your website and more donations. I'm going to show you why your website should be a key part of telling your nonprofit story, how you can manage it without touching any code, and how to increase your reach and engage your visitors. A lot of you out there are aware that your website is a problem. You might not know exactly what the problem is with it, but you might think maybe your messaging on the website isn't communicating your organization's importance. You say to yourself and your colleagues, we're not connecting with the people we want to connect with. We've conducted an audit, as I mentioned, of over 300 Canadian nonprofit websites and have some takeaway learnings from that we're going to share later on today. You're already stressed out because you've got a million things to do and manage, and you don't have the time to deal with the problem of your website. You have too many different systems and too many things are disconnected. You don't have the time, you're not even sure where to start. If you don't fix this problem, you're going to risk losing donors and volunteers to other organizations. It's stressful. There's not enough time in the day to give the right amount of attention to the website or to properly review analytics or make updates proactively. The reality is that underneath all of this, the thing that you're really not aware of or maybe not willing to talk about, and this comes from our clients that we work with, is that your organization is likely missing a digital strategy. Maybe your website was something you created 3, 4, 5 years ago because everybody else has one, so you need one too. Maybe you've gone through a really painful RFP process. You built a website and then it just kind of sat there. It takes too long to update content, and it's a frustrating part of your organization. You know that you need it to be better, but you're not sure where to start. You don't have a strategy, and that's why ultimately you're hanging out here on the webinar today. Don't worry, I'm going to be going through all of this with you, and I'm going to teach you how to overcome these problems with your organization. I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to know in order to have a much more effective website for your nonprofit. So let me tell you about a client that we've worked with and some of the things that we've helped them achieve around this front, just so you know that it's possible for your nonprofit as well. We worked with our client, KOCA, the Council of Ontario Construction Associations. Here's their old site, and this is their new one. They had a number of different systems, and they didn't even know where all of their login details were. We helped them consolidate their platform into one clear backend control panel to run their organization online. We implemented a new content management system so anyone in their organization who has access, not just their web pro or designer, could manage it. So anyone can go in and add their content. We provided them with training, and we're saving them 3 to 4 hours a month just on this one consolidation and training. We're not even talking about messaging and all the cool things we could definitely help you do. And we're going to teach you over the course of the webinar. So just by consolidating their systems, they're developing a better digital strategy. We're saving them hours a month so they can focus on their mission. We're going to talk about a couple of other organizations and case studies over today's presentation, but I just want you to know that these problems are definitely solvable and it is completely within your reach. KOCA is just an example that hopefully you can start to think about for your own organization. And at the end of the day, though, you have to ask yourself a question. Do you want to make a change and have a better functioning website for your organization and bring in more donations? That's the question I want you to have answered by the end of today's presentation. And really quick, as we go through today's content, I want you to also think about these 2 other questions. If we could double the reach and impact you have on your mission over the next 12 months, in the chat, what kind of impact would that have for you and your nonprofit? Absolutely, Caitlin, for sure. Expanding, it's very important for sure, Daryl, to be able to expand and help more communities. If that's your mission, for sure, definitely. Expansion again, Curtis. Oh, absolutely. If we can do stuff to help save time, it definitely frees you up to work on your other priorities and messaging. And if you work at an organization, let's say at a hospital or something, dealing with internal communications, especially given like the COVID situation, right? For sure. And what would you do with your time if you could free up 5 to 10 hours a month from managing and posting to your website or email platforms, right? Like, how would that help you? Okay, yeah, Chris, I'll ask it. So what would you do with your time if you can free up 5 hours or so a month from managing the content and managing your website? For sure. Eat, maybe sleep too, Curtis. Definitely Maryland for sure. More time for programming. Definitely less stress. Absolutely. I've been there. I worked in nonprofits full time for 16 years. I feel the pain. Later on in today's session, I'm going to give you all an opportunity to sign up for a free nonprofit digital audit. And as we go through, I'd like to go deeper on this if you want to go deeper on this, with WOW Digital. You'd love for us to look at your nonprofit and what you're doing online. I'd love to give you an opportunity later in today's session for that. And Stephanie, for sure, PD is huge, being able to find that time to do that. So the first shift I'm going to talk about, the first point, is making your site look better so it tells your story and engages users and donors. Your website is not just an online brochure or a repository of information that you just keep dumping content into. As I mentioned, we evaluated over 300 sites and we found some consistent issues with many of them. So let's take a look at some homepage screenshots from some of the sites we looked at. And keep in mind that this was just like a few weeks ago. It wasn't like we went back in a time machine, 20 years ago. So here's a few. How about these? How do these make you feel, right? I hope none of these are yours. If I do, I'm sorry. And then, here's a few more. What do you think of these? Do they remind you of your site or sites that you've seen recently? So let's take a look at what we've learned. You probably noticed that many of the sites look very similar. They have an outdated look. Curtis, yes, they're dull, absolutely. And when people come to a website and they look like that, it usually means there's outdated information. Many of these sites fail to offer value or answer donor and volunteer questions. Many were not accessibly friendly. If your website is not accessible, then you're not serving the purpose for your community. And many others didn't even have some easy to find contact information like a phone number. People today are busy. They're researching your organizations. They want to know what makes your cause different, better, or unique from another. If you blend in with all the others, if your site is confusing or frustrating, if you don't make it clear that you offer relevant services for them, then they'll leave and never contact you again. There's nothing you can do at this point to get them to make a donation to your cause. So let's take a look at a client at Springboard Services. It's important for the website to tell your story through the brand, design, and style of content. It needs to be fast loading and easy to navigate. You need to really think about your website from your user's perspective and not your own. What does this feel like to you? What kind of emotion does this give you? There's no real story happening here. It's pretty text heavy. When we went in and worked with Springboard, one of the things that we realized is that they bring these groups of people together and they connect human beings, and people are at the center of everything that they do. So look at what we created for them. Look at how we transformed their website into a visual storytelling medium for their organization. Let's take a look at another. I think everyone has been through this at least once, but imagine you find out about a charity or a nonprofit organization and you want to learn more about them. You instinctively go to their website and then you see this. Stunning, right? Well, no, not quite. They have a mission and it's really great. They want to give grants to new projects to improve quality of life for people in Ontario, but they're not going to do that with this look. Why would you feel compelled to volunteer or donate to this organization? Are they even still in business? So here's what we did. And there's a whole new ring to it, right? Imagery with people looking at the camera are scientifically proven to evoke a response. This is the type of response that's important for your nonprofit in order to create a connection and make a compelling case for someone to take action with your cause. How often do you load up a website on your phone while you're on the go, sitting on the couch, or just about, going about your day? Data suggests that approximately 40 to 50% of your website visitors are coming from mobile devices. And this is only increasing over time as technology becomes more affordable and available. Making sure that your website scales down to tablet and mobile devices is absolutely critical. And this is called responsive design. By implementing these modifications, you'll have a compelling and better looking website that works across devices. You'll have a website that fits in your brand's look and feel, and you'll end up with more time because you'll be spending less effort working on the website and digital marketing. And to that point, you can leverage automation and system integration, which leads into shift number 2. With the right tools, the right systems, and the right results, it means that you can save time to focus on other priorities. There's tools like page builders such as Wix and Squarespace and WordPress. And even within WordPress, there's a subset of tools like the page builders that you can get for there, like Elementor, WP Bakery, Visual Baker. As well, in terms of tools, think about how great it would be to have an integrated CRM, donation, and email platform such as Keela. In my podcast, episode number 15 from just a little bit over a month ago, I talk about page builders and the differences between platforms. You can head over to wowdigital.com/015 to listen to that, or search on your favorite podcast platform for the Nonprofit Digital Success Podcast. Daniel thankfully put a link in on the chat there. Don't go there right now though, because I want you to stay in the webinar here. One of the things that we do with our clients, so a CRM is a customer relationship management tool, Veronica. And what that is it's a platform where you can track all the different interactions that you have with your potential donors, audience, volunteers, and so. So one of the things that we do with our clients is we leverage free or low cost, definitely Sam Keela as a CRM. We leverage free or low cost automation tools to help save time. So we'll integrate IFTTT or Zapier with, for example, MailChimp or Constant Contact and those type of platforms. And it really helps our clients save time. And speaking of saving time, I'd like to introduce Elsie, Keela's Director of Customer Care, to fill you in about how you can leverage the Keela platform to save you time, effort, and frustration.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I won't take up too much time, but I've been invited along because Keela has a tool that does this. And since this is a Keela webinar, why not talk about it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I want to show you quickly what the tool does, but I also want to get you thinking about maybe your own processes and maybe other tools that you might be aware of as well. So let me share my screen. I always hold my breath, just thinking maybe something's going to go wrong, but everything looks good. So this is Keela. You might recognize it from the purple that we love so much here at Keela. We're big on purple. But we've got an automation tool right in our Keela system. So this is an example of what David's talking about. So once you've got your online platform set up, your website's beautiful, it's primed, it's ready to go, you've brought it into the 21st century, what happens next? How do you take it further? And there's lots of things that we can do. We talk about best practices all the time, that you should send, a personalized thank you message to your donors, or a real special one to first-time donors. Or maybe you could have a really robust volunteer sign-up program like the one down here. But of course, as David mentioned, it's not like the nonprofit world is very time rich, right? And often we don't have the ability to be performing these really personalized tasks in a really manual way. We just don't have the time. So enter automation, and that's what Keela's tool does. So I want to take you through an example, a new welcome workflow. And this is one that everyone can understand. Whenever you have a new contact joining your organization, maybe you met them at a function or they're a first-time donor, somehow someone has joined your organization as a contact, as someone you want to speak to and reach out and connect with. So in this, what you might do is you might set up a starting point. So whenever a contact enters your CRM, that contact relationship management tool, they're entered into a workflow and it's triggered. Stages begin and they're entered through each stage. So here I've got my starting point as being a new contact added. Let's say we have a first-time donor reach out, or a team member has added this new contact. And then we have different stages, and at each stage an action can occur. So this first stage I've got here, a contact is added, they entered in here and they hit their first stage, the first checkpoint. And it's a delay. Keela holds them for 1 day because I don't want to come off too keen when I'm welcoming someone. Maybe I want to be a little bit aloof. And so I hold them for 1 day. And then they move on to the next stage after 1 day. And a couple of different actions can happen. This is my favorite part about the automation tool. is that depending on the very specific parts of their profile, or depending on who they are or the information that we have about them, we can perform two different actions. And all of this is happening automatic. Once you set it up, this sort of ticks off in the background. So the two filters I've got here are, do they have an email address? And if so, are they opted in to receive emails? And if that's the case, if the answer is yes, then they'll automatically be sent our welcome email. So a contact has been added to my account, whether it was through an online donation form or through a team member, and they had an email address, they were opted in, and they automatically received this welcome email without me having to do a thing. But if they don't have an email address, they don't fit that criteria, maybe I get a to-do added to my profile that says, hey, Elsie, maybe you want to give this person a call if we've got a phone number and welcome them that way. Or maybe if we have an address, you can send them a letter, a beautiful welcome card or something like that. Maybe we can collect that email address so that communications are easier in the future. So this is an example of something that I set up, and then it just ticks off automatically in the background forever. And I know that I'm sending out really personalized welcome emails without having to do a thing. A brilliant example of it. And there's so many others, so many use cases for it. So things like maybe you want to send out special thank you messages for large donations. So they become major donors and you're saying thank you. Or maybe event registration. That's a really good one, because I know that sometimes you have to follow up with RSVPs lately. No one respects RSVPs anymore. So it's a way for you to send out an email to everybody, letting them know about this beautiful event you're holding, and then maybe provide a form for them to give you their special dietary requirements and things like that. So a way of collecting information. So what I want to leave you with is a thought exercise. Think about your own day to day. I'll stop sharing. Think about your day to day, or your week over week. Think about times where you found yourself sending the same email over and over again. Do you do that? Do you send an email, manually type it out, or maybe you've gotten to the point where you're copying and pasting an email? Do you wish that you could increase the level of personalization that you have with your contacts, with your donors, or with your supporters, your volunteers, but you just don't have the time? Do you want to sort of explore a more advanced digital marketing strategy maybe, but you don't have the power, the sort of the team members to be able to do that? And if you answered yes to that, then I think an automation tool might be something that would be helpful for you, whether it's Keela's automation tool or some of the other tools that David suggests today as well. So I hope I've got you thinking. Thank you so much. I'll pass it back to David. Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
There we go. Now I'm not muted. Thanks, thanks, Elsie. That was a great showcase of the Keela platform. From website management perspective, there are solutions to make editing and maintenance easier for non-technical people. With the right mix of tools and systems, you're going to say goodbye to your content management headache, saving 3 to 5 hours a month or more, so you can maximize productivity and get more done. So let's take a look at the Banting and Best Diabetes Center at the University of Toronto. BBDC's old website was hard to manage. Their homepage was crowded and it was a single image. It was next to impossible for them to edit the text on the image because they didn't have the knowledge or even the software to do so. Their site looked like a dumping ground for anything and everything. There was no visual hierarchy or logical organization of their content. The design of the site didn't match the Faculty of Medicine, which was a real big key priority for them. The site had multiple backend administration panels for managing 2 different sets of profiles, and then the website itself. They didn't have control over their social media identity or even Google's business page. We consolidated all of that and made a single backend for them to manage everything. We integrated registration forms for member profiles and integrated a relevance-based site search to help users find what they're looking for quickly and easily. By leveraging the Faculty of Medicine branding, we were able to create a visual hierarchy of information. We ran a training session and provided them with best practices so they can continue promoting the great work that they do. Okay, I have one more shift that I'm going to teach today. Before I get to that, remember when I said if you wanted help, I was going to give you a next step. Well, if what I've shown you today has inspired you, or you think this applies to your organization and you're ready to get help, then I'd love to see you take some action today. Wow Digital creates branding and web and digital marketing for Canadian nonprofits, charities, foundations, and community-based organizations. We want to help you jumpstart your digital strategy, and our Mission Accelerator program will allow you to get started and implement a new website to raise more money and engage the world. This is for any organization who is struggling with time and is looking to take their online presence to the next level. If you want to book a free consult with me or find out more details, just head over to wowdigital.com/Kila. So let's say you've had your website redesigned and it looks and feels great. Your tools are sharp and they're doing wonders so you can manage your website smoothly, as well as serving your visitors so that they can get what you want from your website. By having all that, a lot of people would feel they're set for success right away. But that's why I want to talk to you about this last shift. So for the few of you that are going to be launching new sites, this is really key. You need to have ongoing content and updates to your website. Aside from keeping visitors up to date and in the know, there are other benefits. You need to leverage Google in your favor and get people to take action. If you don't have analytics on your site, do it today. Google Analytics is free. And if you need, we can do this for you at no charge. Just reach out to us. Reviewing the data quarterly, seeing what people are looking for and how they're finding you will empower your decision-making on the type of content that helps drive traffic to your website. It's equally important to provide CTAs on your website to motivate visitors to take action. Using analytics, you can see which CTA wording converts the best. And I'm going to show you right now why content is so powerful. So sickkids.ca, it's a website that was redesigned, but in my opinion, they didn't really pay proper attention to planning and to their audience. They're not a client of ours, but this is just the public data that's available, which we were able to tap into to get the insight. The site was redesigned in early December, which is indicated by the black arrows on the charts. Their new website, in my opinion, looks really great. Unfortunately, they misstepped on their launch and didn't think about the content in the right way. So the chart on the left is the number of SEO ranked keywords, and the chart on the right shows their organic traffic. As you can see, their ranked keywords dropped and their organic traffic did too. The keywords dropped almost right away, but Google doesn't just drop search results. Their algorithm takes a few weeks to adjust when pages are removed without the right headers in the backend coding to let them know that it's removed, which is why it took about 6 to 8 weeks for the organic traffic to drop as well. So in terms of ranked keywords, in November, just before their launch, they had just over 235,000 keywords ranked. And after their launch, so April, they were just down to about 60,000. That's just about a 75% decrease. Just think about what kind of effect this would have on the number of people going to their website, potential donors, staff, volunteers. Think what this is likely doing to their donations and their fundraising efforts. As you may or may not know, as I mentioned before, also I have a podcast that I started in January called the Nonprofit Digital Success Podcast. In episode number 6, I talk about leveraging data when going through a website redesign to determine how you should work with your content. So if you head over to wowdigital.com/006, when you have a chance, we'll put that link in the chat here for you as well. And speaking of content, we ran a content workshop with a client to create a 12-month content roadmap. Up until last July, they were publishing a blog article maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, thereabouts, and they were getting 230 to 250 organic hits, organic traffic to their site a month. In August, I pushed them a little bit and I got them to start publishing an article once a month. That just about doubled. They're just under doubled. They got up to 375 to 400 hits organically a month. And then in January, they started publishing one bit of content every week. There is no plateau. Currently, it's sitting at 1,452 organic visitors a month. That's more than triple in just 3 months of effort and 7 times their traffic in just 10 months. It's great that you have visitors coming to your site, but what do they do when they get there? So here's where I'm going to get into the call to actions. I see there's some messages here. So there's something called a CTA, which is a call to action. These are extremely important for your nonprofit, because they instruct the user on what to do next, prompting them to take immediate action. Whether you want a user to read an article, make a donation, sign up to be a volunteer, or subscribe to an email list, you need to provoke this action with a well-placed CTA. The easier you make it for them to take the next step, the more people will do so. What I suggest is to review your analytics and identify the pages with the most views and hits, and make sure that those pages first have a clear and relevant CTA on them. If it's done properly, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. And you can't expect immediate results. However, it can be done relatively quickly. By increasing your content publishing on a consistent basis, you'll gain more search engine visibility. You'll get more people coming to your website. And with the right calls to action, you can increase engagement and ultimately get more donations, email subscribers, and there's so many other wonderful, great benefits of having a more recognizable brand. With an easy way to update your website, you'll free up time to focus on other priorities. By posting new content frequently, you'll increase your awareness and bring more traffic to your website. You'll have a website that highlights and showcases the importance of your organization and how you change the world. So what I want to do now is take a look at the International Federation on Aging, which is a committee of the United Nations. Here we have their before and their after. Their old site was bland and boring. It didn't have impact. It was really text heavy, and it kind of looked like it came out of the early 2000s. They were using a third-party platform to bring in content through an iframe, which Google doesn't actually consider as their own content. We're talking thousands of articles and profiles of researchers, doctors, and such. Their new system pulls in content using a third-party API, and now Google is indexing their articles, spotlights, and profiles, helping them generate huge returns from search results. We replace their clunky WordPress editor with our WoW editor that integrates directly in, and it makes it easier and faster for them to manage their website and their content. This is the WordPress editor on the left and our editor on the right. Our editor, you can drag around, you can split columns, create new rows, even with just a few simple clicks. There is no coding needed. This also makes the site responsive for different types of devices, which, by the way, Google uses as a metric in their algorithm when they rank websites. So here's the truth. You don't have to be $1 million organization to make $1 million impact. You just have to make the right decisions that will help your organization get to the next level. Do you want to stay the status quo, or are you ready to take a step forward and level up your nonprofit? Ultimately, digital transformation starts with you. We make your nonprofit stand out. We're in your corner and we'll help you succeed. With our Mission Accelerator program, we'll take care of your website, design, and digital marketing so you can focus on your organization and other priorities. You'll get a website that's up to date and running smoothly. We have the time and expertise to take your website to the next level. If you want to book a free call with me or to find out more details, again, just head over to wowdigital.com/Kila. The benefit for our clients is that they feel at ease knowing that they have us in their toolbox to help them. So what I'd like to do right now is open this up to questions. Take a moment to think of something that maybe you're not clear about, and let me know in the chat.
I saw we had one question come in about a call to action, which I know a lot of people answer, but maybe did you want to expand on that a little bit for Veronica?
Sure, I'm just going to find it here. So what is a CTA? CTA is a call to action. It's something that you place. It's usually a button. That's most often what it looks like, either a square or like a rounded button. And it provides a specific call to action, like donate today, or donate to this cause, or volunteer, or subscribe to our email list, that type of thing. Does that help clear it up, Veronica?
I'm going to assume yes.
Okay.
So Veronica, the follow-up question, does the viewer press that button?
Yes, absolutely. They need to move their mouse and click on it, or if they're on their mobile device, they tap it with their finger, for sure.
So we had a couple other
Um,
questions come in as well. One from Lauren. I'm just scrolling back. Can you use WoW when you already have WordPress? Is it a plugin?
So Lauren, yes, we can integrate our builder into any WordPress site. What we most often do is we include it as part of our build with our theme. Our theme is actually built around the builder, but yes, we can integrate it into an existing WordPress site as a plugin. Absolutely. And I just want to skip Patty's question for a quick second because I see that Angela asked a question about CTAs as well. So I'm going to get to her, and then Patty, I'll get to your question. So Angela asked, how would you suggest driving folks to our donate pages with CTAs on other pages? So first and foremost, in your top navigation on your website, you should have a donate button. You should also have a donate link in your footer. And you should also, Facebook has an option to I'm presuming your organization has a Facebook page, but if you don't set one up, they have an option to put a donate button right in your Facebook page as well. So you can drive traffic from Facebook there. Across your website, what you want to do is try to find out what is driving people to donate. Are there specific things? So for example, if you were a hospital, one of the things you can do is you can say like donate a hospital bed or donate to something very specific and help people understand what the money is being used for from there. So in terms of driving traffic, as I mentioned in the webinar, if you take a look at your analytics, I hope you have analytics on your site, take a look at the top 10 pages or 15 pages that are getting the most hits, the most traffic to your website, and look at the content that's on those pages. Is there anything in there where you can embed a call to action somewhere in the copy or once or twice in there where it makes sense and it's actually connected with the content? So what are you asking people to donate to, and does it make sense from the content? So that would be the probably the best spot in my opinion to work with driving traffic to your online donations. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here. You talk about online donation forms. Yeah, Patty. So your question was that I didn't talk about online donation forms, but are there any tips to increase conversion rates? Absolutely. There's lots of things that you can do to increase conversion rates. One of the things that we typically talk about with our clients is, can we track the people as they make donations year over year? And one of the like interesting little things that you can do with some platforms is you can actually build out a donation platform, a donation page that you push out to people via email. They click on the link, it's unique to them, but when they land on the page, it takes into account, what their donation has been in the past. And then it'll default to add, 10 or 15% to their last donation. So if they made a donation last year for $100, when they go and click through, it'd say, 115, 230, 500, and then other. And then if they want to put in 100 or 80, they could still do that, but by default, it'll kind of push them just a little bit more to donate a little bit more. And if you can get just fractional amounts, when you're talking about hundreds of donations or thousands of donations, depending on the size of your organization, it could actually have a really big impact for that. So I hope that helps. Angela, I covered Angela's question. All right, so Eileen asks, are regular email campaigns still considered a useful communication strategy? How often is best? So from our experience, there's typically like times of year that are better. And I'm sure somebody from Keela can jump in here, but I know in the Keela platform, when you go and look at a user in the CRM, it'll actually give you it'll give you ideas and recommendations about, how much you should ask for and the frequency or the next time, like when they're most likely to donate. So I don't know if anybody wants to jump in and chat a bit about that.
Sure, I'm always looking for an opportunity to talk. Yeah, exactly. So we call them our contact insights, and we've got a bunch of different tools that do a similar thing. So you can filter your contacts by time of year. And based on, we sort of use algorithms to calculate the times that they've donated in the past, and then give you an idea of if we notice any patterns. So you can do that. We also have Smart Ask, which is very similar to the tool you just described, David, where you can send them out your very own Keela donation form via email, and that will the form that each contact opens up when they open up your email will be different depending on their giving history, and it's called Smart Ask. So you're asking for an amount that sort of fits in with their donor profile. We've got a bunch of different contact insights that do a similar thing where we measure the engagement you have with your donors and things like that. So we're trying to work on taking the guesswork, I think, out of all of that kind of stuff, all of that for asking for gifts, but also showing that you can use data to give yourself permission to ask because of the algorithm. So I think that we can sometimes get anxiety for asking for larger amounts, but it's based on data. So you can trust Keeler and you can ask for that little bit more as well.
Yeah, and in the insights, it'll also show you, how much the person has donated over their lifespan with your organization, right? So
Exactly.
You'll have a good idea in terms of, how much you think you should be asking for.
Yeah, and it'll surprise you. Maybe it's a lot more.
Yeah. And Eileen, in terms of email, what we recommend to our clients is, yes, keep pushing email. It's a direct connection right into people's inboxes. And that's, it doesn't really get better than that, short of, like going and knocking on their door or calling them and having a personal conversation with them. But it lets them look at what your organization is doing. It's important when you're sending out communications for donations, not to just always be, hey, we need money. Hey, we need money. What's the money being spent on? What are you raising the money for? What's the intent? What's the purpose? And trying to build an emotional connection with them so that, they don't have a reason to say no. What speeds that work with? So Lauren is asking a question here about online donation forms with the lowest fees that work with NP. Sorry, Lauren, what's NPSP? If you wouldn't mind just clarifying that in the chat here. All right, well, we're waiting for Lauren to type that in. We'll just move along here. Okay, so Graham, Graham asked, with regards to Google Analytics, are there concerns with privacy or use of data? And considering it's a free service. So the real concern is that like with GDPR, for example, people need to be able to opt out of it. So building in a way for that to happen. Typically, on sites that we build, we chat with our clients about whether they want like a little pop-up saying, here are the things that we're, in terms of privacy and acceptable use, here are the things that are tracking you, for example. So like Facebook Pixel or Google Analytics, that type of thing. From our experience, we've never had any issues with anybody having a problem using Google Analytics. There are other analytic platforms out there, but I haven't found one that is as robust and provides the same kind of metrics. So depending on where your website is hosted, like we have our own server, it's in Montreal. We have, several dozen clients hosted on there. We have analytics built into our server. So if you didn't want Google Analytics, there's a few that we have built in with Apache on the back end. So you can like log into the cPanel and look at your analytics, but it really requires a lot more effort to dig through and get the details that you're looking for. So I hope that helps. If you have budget, there's another platform like Adobe Analytics is pretty good as well, but it can get costly for sure. And Daryl, yes, thank you. You booked a discovery call. Awesome. Very much looking forward to having a chat with you. That's great. Toby's got some links here that he put in for call to actions and how to do that. So thank you, Toby, for posting those in there. Shannon asked, what's the best way to drive traffic and donations through social media? What are some posts that I would recommend? So first and foremost, make sure you have a donate button on your Facebook page. You can have that right up at the top. And in terms of the donations, it's really important to, again, I said this a couple of times, but it's really important to create that emotional connection. If it's like, oh yeah, we help feed, starving children, we need money, is that as emotional just putting that up in a post, or what can you do visually? A lot of things that we do for a number of our clients is we'll actually produce some social media graphics to go along with some of the more bigger posts that they want to do. And one of the other things that we do, video is really big right now. We create these like 60-second video vignettes that will take the content from a blog post or a news release or an article, and we'll use like B-roll footage, so other imagery and stuff that kind of fit with the content, and we build that out for them to publish into their social channels. You know, how many times have you been scrolling through Facebook and something just kind of moves, as like in the big news feed, and then you stop and take a look at it for 2 or 3 seconds? If we can make those first 2 or 3 seconds really kind of captivate and engage the person that's looking at it, then we can help drive donations, or at least click through to find out more details or more information about your organization, in hopes that, you know, maybe they sign up for an email newsletter, get more familiar with your organization, and do a little bit of cultivation with them. Sometimes it's really hard to do a financial ask on a cold lead. Usually you have to have some kind of warm up to them, or they most often need to be familiar with your organization. So it's really about creating the brand awareness, getting people seeing your message, letting them know what you're doing and finding out about what you do and the amazing work and the people that you help, or the animals that you help, or whatever you're doing to help the planet, if you're planting trees or whatever. So it's important to create that connection. So Shannon asked another question about what is the best way to word asking for donations in an email. So I actually have an ebook that we'll be sending out to everybody, and it's called 3 Simple Words to Increase Your Donations by 20%. And it's actually really great. It's based on scientific data. It's a short read. It's like 4 pages or something. And we're going to send that out to everybody afterwards. And you know, if you implement those, it talks about, you know, the right things to say and words that you should use to help motivate people to make a donation subconsciously. So that's going to get sent out to everybody. Veronica, my products are for big order. We are a newly formed nonprofit with a few volunteers. We've raised about 2,000. So Veronica, one of the things that we're actually in the middle of working on right now, I'm a little hesitant to talk about it because we haven't really built it out yet, but we're about halfway through, is setting up a platform for nonprofits to come and set up a web page and have like a low monthly fee for it. So you don't necessarily need to engage with us. It will be, you know, come fill out a form, it'll automatically create a site for you that you can then go in and make edits to. So that is coming soon. And I'm hoping that by the end of this year, by the end of 2021, we'll be able to launch that. So keep your eye out for something in that range. If you want us to send you some details once we've got something, feel free to shoot me over an email. You can reach me, david@wowdigital.com, and I'll put you on file basically, so we can let you know when we have something. And if you're interested, maybe you could be a beta tester of it as well. Eileen asked if people feel a bit manipulated or annoyed by persistent donation asks. Yes, absolutely. You can't always send out an email asking for money. It's important to cultivate those relationships. Let them know what the money that has been donated is going towards, not necessarily their donation, but you know, what your cause is doing, how you're helping people, and building relationships that way are really great. So Naomi asked if I could speak about strategies to drive traffic. So I think I've covered this one a little bit, but younger donors, so there's this like wave of money that's going to be coming to millennials and younger generations as the baby boomers are getting older, they're passing away, there's a lot of money. And I think I have a blog post about that as well. So if you head over to wowdigital.com/blog, you'll see I've got a post in there about like this wave of money that's going to be coming in, and how you need to like interact with them to like, it's important now to start creating those relationships with you know, volunteers or younger potential donors, so that when money does come their way, you'll be top of mind and they'll be familiar with your organization. Nonprofit Success Pack. instead of managed packages developed and maintained by Salesforce. Okay, so NPSP, I'm just gonna scroll up here, see if I can find that. Donation forms. Okay, so Lauren, I would need to connect with you and do a little bit of research to find out which platforms integrate with NPSP. I do imagine that you can leverage multiple platforms, right? So you could link out to Ctas. I don't know if there's anything on the integration side between connecting Salesforce with Ctas, or if there's something in the pipeline for that. Oh, okay. It's Canadian, US charity. We have 2 instances of Ctas. I'm just reading through these last questions here. How does an organize? All right. So Naomi asked, how does an organization know when it's ready for this kind of service? Is there a threshold number of donors, for example? Yeah, so Ctas does have, there's, I don't know if Elsie or Sam or Toby, if you want to jump in, but I believe there's a free version of Ctas. It's limited, but there's a version there as well.
100%. Yeah, I'd love to talk again. Thank you. So we do have a Ctas Starter, which is some of the tools that Ctas has. So things like managing donations online, receiving donations through our donation forms, and having contacts, their information get logged. It doesn't include our email marketing tool, and there are other couple of things in there. I've put Sam's put the link for it in the chat, but you do have the ability to receive online donations and embed a Ctas donation form in your website. You can have up to 250 contacts, and there's no subscription cost. It's just the payment processing fee. So I believe that we use Stripe for that one. And you can find information about what that payment processing fee, so that's taken out of the donations that you receive in the link that Sam sent through. But yeah, it's a great way to start out. If you've never had a CRM, or if you're using spreadsheets and you need a way to get that information out of spreadsheets and into a system and also receive online donations, then that might be a good option for you for sure.
Yeah, and just with regards to online donations, Ctas can issue tax receipts, right?
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
Like super important, is you don't have to have a Word document and then print them off and have them signed, or get a digital signature from like CFO or somebody to do any of that. You can just automate it all through their platform, which again, saving you time and money, so you can deal with other things that you have to deal with in your day-to-day work that you've got. Yeah, so if you want to go and sign up and get a free Ctas account and start playing around, I highly recommend that you do that. It's a great platform to work with. Awesome. So we'll just I think I've got everybody's questions so far, which is great.
We've got one in the Q&A chat. I don't know if you've seen
Q&A.
that one yet.
Okay. What is a good way to drive donation traffic from social media? So Shannon asked that. So I think I covered this one already, but get a button on your site, on your Facebook page for donate, create content that drives people to click through to read more, something engaging, something that's going to get traffic. Look at your analytics and see what it tells you about people and where they're coming to your site from. And you want to make sure that you set up analytics in a way that you'll be able to track click-throughs from Facebook. So if you're weary, for example, about using Google Analytics, you can leverage a tool like Bitly to create a link, and then you can, it's free. They have paid ones also, but you can get a free one, and then you can just track the click-throughs from the Bitly links. So I hope that that helps. So as you registered and you're here, so you're going to be entered into a draw. We're going to do like a live spin the wheel here. So, the winner needs to still be here. We're going to add everybody into it. Daniel's been working on getting everybody's name. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. As well as I mentioned before, because you've attended, after the webinar, we'll be sending out over the next day or two this ebook. So keep your eyes on this, and we hope that you enjoy that. Also, we started something at the beginning of July. which is our $10,000 give back program. So head over to wowdigital.com/10K and we have our application form on there and all kinds of other information about this. Feel free, fill out the application. Our goal is to help 25 organizations this year. We've already connected with 4 and have issued them out that way. So feel free, jump over there, take a look at what we're offering as well. And Daniel just popped a link into the chat. So we are going to do a little spin. Let's just get this. Oh, whoops. I'm just going to open up this link here. All right. Now I'm going to move this over here. There we go. Wait for this to load up. All right, I'm going to close the ad because the ads are irritating. Oh, this is not the new one. Hold on a sec. There we go. Awesome. So we've got like a lot of names in here. So thank you everybody for coming, and let's spin this. And Darlene, awesome. Fantastic. So if you want to hang on, Darlene, after the webinar, or even better, if you want to shoot me an email, david@wowdigital.com. Congratulations, that's awesome. You've just won a $3,800 prize from Wow Digital from us. We're going to meet with you, have a digital strategy session, and do some design work for you as well. So if you have any questions or you'd like to connect, I'm here to support you. If you have any doubts about your website and how to improve it, check out our podcast and blog, or even better, let's just jump on a call and have a chat. Again, thank you so much for dropping by on the webinar today. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to Keela for hosting, and looking forward to speaking with hopefully a number of you afterwards.